Foldable phones. Are they a gimmick or the future? For years, Samsung's Galaxy Z Flip series has been trying to answer that question, but it's always felt like it was searching for its identity. Was it for minimalists wanting to escape screen addiction? Style-conscious users craving a compact, eye-catching device? Or tech enthusiasts drawn to the novelty of a folding screen? The Z Flip's foldable display never quite matched the versatility of the book-style Fold, and its internal hardware often lagged behind Samsung's flagship Galaxy S line. But hold on, because the Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 7 aims to change all that. Samsung's vision? To create a foldable phone that appeals to everyone who wants a powerful device wrapped in a fun, playful package. It tackles the shortcomings of its predecessors head-on, boasting a nearly edge-to-edge cover screen for enhanced usability without unfolding, and a boosted battery that easily lasts through the day. Plus, it's even managed to slim down the overall design. After spending weeks putting it through its paces, these improvements culminate in a significantly more reliable foldable experience, finally bringing the Flip series on par with competitors like the Moto Razr. Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 7, Design and Build. At first glance, the Flip 7 looks strikingly similar to last year's Z Flip 6 when powered off. But don't be fooled. Samsung has implemented a series of subtle yet impactful design tweaks. Unlike previous iterations, the Flip 7 now folds completely flat, achieving a comfortable thickness of just 0.54 inches, a hair thinner than the Flip 6 despite being slightly taller. Tipping the scales at a mere 188 grams, it's remarkably lightweight. I barely noticed it in my pocket. Now, let's address the elephant in the room. Durability. Foldable phones have a reputation for being fragile. But here's the thing. During my time with the Flip 7, I never felt that vulnerability. It feels incredibly robust, with its aluminum shell providing a reassuring sense of sturdiness. The grippy matte finish on the back and edges made me confident enough to use it without a case, something I did constantly. It might just be the only phone that hasn't slipped out of my sweatpants, and it certainly looks the part of a flagship device, with fresh color options like mint adding to its sleek aesthetic. The redesigned hinge on the Z Flip 7 further enhances its durability. It's now approximately 30% smaller and slightly stronger than before. It also features just the right amount of magnetic resistance, resulting in a satisfying clunk when closed. The hinge is also strong enough to hold the phone at almost any angle and allows you to easily open it with one hand. Speaking of one-handed use, the taller main screen, 6.9 inches up from 6.7, does present some challenges. I often found myself stretching or repositioning my fingers to reach the fingerprint sensor, which is located on the upper half of the right side. Facial recognition offers a convenient alternative, but it's less secure and often struggles in low-light conditions. Unfortunately, one aspect that hasn't changed is the Z Flip's dust and water resistance rating. It's still rated IP48, meaning it can only withstand particles larger than 1 millimeter and water immersion up to 1.5 meters for 30 minutes. So, while it should handle everyday splashes and spills, it's definitely not ideal for a beach vacation or a jungle adventure. Is this a deal breaker for you? Let us know in the comments. Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 7 displays. Both of the Z Flip screens have received a size upgrade this year. The outer cover screen has grown from 3.4 inches to 4.1 inches, wrapping around the two rear cameras and covering half of the back. While the size increase may seem modest, it's arguably the Z Flip 7's most significant improvement, enabling you to accomplish much more without unfolding the phone. You can now comfortably use full-fledged apps on the cover screen. It's also vibrant and bright, even in direct sunlight, and the improved 120 Hz refresh rate makes it a joy to use. When folded, I often stood it upright on my desk, where it served as a handy smart clock. You can customize the cover screen with a variety of interactive wallpapers and home screen layouts. I particularly liked the informative presets, which display a grid of mini widgets, allowing me to quickly check the time, unread notifications, battery life, and more. However, the selection of widgets still lags behind the Moto Razr, and I hope Samsung adds more options in the future, especially more playful ones. Swiping on the cover screen allows you to cycle through notifications, widgets, and, most importantly, the app launcher. A larger screen real estate makes it easier to use full apps on the cover screen, and Samsung even allows you to quickly switch between different views if an app isn't optimized for the cover screen. For example, Gemini threw a giant Play Store review pop-up, and I had to open the inner screen to dismiss it, and ends up hiding buttons behind the cameras. I had no issues navigating my most frequently used apps on the 4.1-inch display, including Google Maps, YouTube Music, contactless payments, Gemini Assistant, and WhatsApp, although I mostly resorted to voice notes over typing. However, the cover screen software is far from perfect and can be frustrating at times. For example, the process of adding apps to the cover screen is unnecessarily complicated. The option is limited to a handful of apps out of the box, and if you want to add others, you have to enable experimental settings and install an add-on software. Even after adding unoptimized apps, it took me a while to find them. They don't appear in the outer screen's default app drawer. You first have to activate a launcher widget to access all your apps. Alerts on the cover screen lack the quick shortcuts found in the notification center, and tapping them doesn't expand them there. Instead, you have to open the phone to continue. Similarly, some alerts, like text messages, have a suggested replies button, but it doesn't work correctly on the cover screen and redirects you to the main screen. On the Z Flip 7, the main screen is also slightly taller, but surprisingly retains last year's full HD resolution. Because of the larger display, it's technically less sharp than the Flip 6. However, in real-world use, it looks well calibrated, and the peak brightness of 2600 nits makes it perfectly visible outdoors. Still, it's hard to justify a full HD display on a phone that costs over $1,000. The good news is that the crease is barely noticeable now, although I still feel a subtle bump when scrolling. Another fairly standard feature that the Z Flip 7 lacks due to its foldable screen is an LTPO OLED. This would have allowed the screen to maintain a high 120 Hz refresh rate at all times. Currently, it alternates between 60 Hz and 120 Hz, depending on the app and battery life. Do you think the lack of LTPO is a major drawback? Share your thoughts below. Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 7. Software. One of the most exciting aspects of the Z Flip 7 is that it comes with Android 16 pre-installed, just 2 months after Google released it to its Pixel phones. This feels like a significant step forward in Samsung's efforts to deliver faster Android updates to its devices. Of course, Samsung has layered it with its in-house One UI skin, which has also evolved significantly over the years and is now much cleaner and more intuitive. Like most phone manufacturers, Samsung has packed One UI with a range of AI features, including a writing assistant, Gemini chatbot, and web page summarization. I found Call Assist particularly useful. It transcribes live calls and allows you to type your responses as if you were in a text thread. The AI then automatically narrates your responses to the other person. I use this feature in situations where I couldn't speak on calls, such as on crowded public transportation and in work meetings. Samsung's generative AI features for editing photos and audio were less reliable. For example, Audio Eraser, which is supposed to remove unwanted noise from videos and audio recordings, often suppressed the frequencies I wanted to keep. Similarly, Samsung's Now Brief, a personalized summary of your day so far, felt largely unnecessary. Depending on the time, it sends you insights like the latest weather and recaps of your workouts, which I didn't need reminding of every few hours. Besides, it requires you to rely heavily on Samsung's native apps. Speaking of apps, it's disappointing that Samsung still bundles so much bloatware on its phones out of the box. After setting up the phone, I had to spend time uninstalling over a dozen apps I didn't want, including Facebook, Netflix, Microsoft Outlook, and more. Do you think phone manufacturers should stop pre-installing so many unnecessary apps? Let us know what you think. Of course, some of the Flip 7 software is tailored to its unique form factor. I particularly enjoyed using Flex Mode, which activates when you prop the phone up at an angle. In this mode, the phone shifts the app's content to the top half and places a control panel on the bottom, such as playback buttons when watching a YouTube video. You can also have a straightforward touchpad on the bottom and navigate the phone like a miniaturized computer. Samsung Galaxy Flip 7 Performance and Battery Life. For the Galaxy Flip 7, Samsung has opted for its own Exynos 2500 chip instead of a Qualcomm processor. Historically, this might have raised concerns, but I didn't experience any performance issues on the Flip 7. Multitasking between apps and dozens of browser tabs was smooth, and the 12 gigabytes of RAM ensures that AI commands are executed almost instantly. Even when I connected the Z Flip 7 to a monitor for the Samsung DeX desktop experience, it handled the added load comfortably and didn't show any signs of slowdown. Plus, the base storage has been increased to 256 gigabytes. It can also run virtually any mobile game, from Subway Surfers to Call of Duty Mobile. The only downside to gaming on this phone is that one of your hands will always rest on the cover screen, which tends to get warm and sticky faster than the other metallic rear half. Battery life has never been the Galaxy Flip's strong point, but it's significantly better this year. The 7th Gen Flip is equipped with a 4300 mAh battery, a slight increase from its predecessor's 4000 mAh capacity. This upgrade is now sufficient to help the Flip last a full day. In my daily testing, which included about an hour of social media, some photography, a couple of video calls, and a few sessions of Call of Duty, the Flip 7 consistently achieved a screen-on time of 4 hours. I usually had about 35% of charge remaining by late evening. So, on nights when I planned to go out, I had to plug it in early. Cautiously early, in fact. Due to the Flip 7's disappointing 25-watt charging speeds, while most flagships, like Samsung's S25 Ultra, now offer double that, the Z Flip takes close to 90 minutes to charge completely. Wireless charging at 15 watt is also available, as is 4.5 watt of reverse wireless charging, which is useful for quickly topping up a pair of wireless earbuds. Samsung Galaxy Flip 7 Cameras. The cameras on the Flip 7 remain unchanged. On the back, you'll find a 50-megapixel main lens paired with a 12-megapixel ultra-wide lens. Both cameras capture well-balanced, crisp shots in most scenarios. As with any Samsung phone, they tend to oversaturate colors at times to make them more visually appealing, at the expense of being less true to the scene. However, you can adjust the camera settings to reduce this effect. I was also impressed by how well the Flip 7 retained details at night. Even in a dimly lit restaurant, the main sensor had no trouble maintaining focus. However, the ultra-wide lens, due to its smaller sensor, struggles a bit at night and produces photos with blurred edges. Its video capabilities are on par with other flagships, and I particularly enjoyed recording in flex mode, where the entire viewfinder moves to the top half, and you can turn the phone sideways to hold it like an old-school camcorder. Another drawback is the lack of a telephoto lens. Samsung offers what it calls AI zoom, which crops from the main wide camera and uses AI to enhance the details. In daylight, this can be effective, especially for sharing on social media, but once you zoom in, it simply doesn't match the quality of an optical zoom. One of the more disappointing aspects of the Flip 7 is its selfie camera. In my testing, it consistently captured washed-out and over-sharpened photos, especially in low-light conditions. Thankfully, other than video calls, I rarely used it and took selfies with the rear cameras, thanks to the cover screen. What do you think about the camera setup on the Z Flip 7? Is it good enough, or is it a deal-breaker for you? Let us know in the comments.